step into this colonial flax shop on the village green. The air hums with the soft rasp of wooden tools as linen begins, not in a factory, but in skilled hands. Today we're apprentices, learning side by side with a colonial spinner the art of rippling, breaking, scutching, hackling, and spinning. Watch closely as she weaves a story of patience and craftsmanship into the fabric that clothed a new nation.
I grew my flax. I planted it on the first day of spring and let it grow, and then I pulled it out of the earth. And this is what it looks like once it's dried. It kind of looks like a form of straw. But what I'm going to do now, before I can go on to other steps, is I need to remove the seeds, okay? And the way we do that is called rippling. And you can use, imagine like a rake that has really strong tines on it. But I happen to use a little device that's fairly old, and I call it my rippling device. It's really a cranberry picker, but it works. And so it's easier if I'm down on the ground because sometimes the seeds just spread out. And the idea is to just pull back on your flax and get all those seeds, ripple the seeds off. And they'll just stay here on my cloth. And so I'll do this for several days with all my flax that I grew this year. And it doesn't hurt the plant. I'm still gonna, even though it looks like it might be damaging it, I've got a lot of fiber to work with. Oops, right there you see where I missed some pods. And it's okay to move on in the next step, but I want to keep as many seeds as I can because my garden next year will come from the seeds that I collect this year. So come right here and break those in your hand and look at the seeds inside. They're flax seeds. If you've ever eaten flax seeds, there's some more.
My mom did not have eggs, so we use flax.
That's right.
I never made that connection.
Now, these particular flax seeds are textile flax seeds. So this breed of flax is called avian, and I purchased the seeds from out east. Flax loves growing where there's lots of humidity and water. Do we have a lot of humidity in our air? No, we don't. So I have to use a lot of water to grow it. And because we don't have the humidity, I don't get as tall of a crop as I would if I lived back east.
What happens if you left them on and try to weave them? That's probably not too good.
Well, actually, I have to process a lot more before I can weave with flax. This I would never weave. Well, I could weave something decorative with that, but I can't weave clothing. So here's my last little bundle right now of the rippling process. Just pulling through, getting those seeds off. I'm going to gather these seeds and we'll do the next step. So one of the things I'm not showing you is what happens directly after removing the seeds from the flax. Once the seeds are removed, I place the flax into a pond or a stream of water. Now where I live, I don't have a pond or a stream, so I have a horse trough and I place my bundles of now flax straw because the seeds are removed that go into the water, and I submerge it under the water somewhere between 5 and 10 days. And I look for some very special characteristics. So remember, I pull the flax out of the ground. It looks like this. And then we remove the seeds, and then I have to ret it. Well, here's an example of a mistake. This is flax that I put in the water. It was summer and it was too hot. And the flax over-retted really quickly. You see all the spidery web white in there? That's fiber that broke away from the stalk. And it's going to give me a problem. But I'm in the learning process, so that sometimes happens. After we ret it and then dry it, we begin to break it. And this tool I'm using is called a break. And this particular one, boy, it's pretty old. Maybe late 19th century, early 20th century. I see pictures very similar to this one from the 18th century. Now, you see what's beginning to happen? Little pieces are coming off. Yes, that's the wood, the stocky part. It's called shive, and it's in the middle, and the fibers are around the outside. So you can begin to see fibers, little fibers, like right there. So I'm going to have to break and break. Now this flax was a little over-retted too because I have a learning curve, since this is really my first summer of getting serious about processing. And I'll keep doing this for a little while. And pieces will begin to come off, weak pieces, pieces that aren't in line. And I'll keep doing that until I feel like I could do a little scraping. And I come to the scutching knife. And this is my scutching knife and my scutching board. And I start scraping. And you can see more shive falling off. That's the woody part. Plus you'll begin to see pieces that were overly weak, pieces of fiber that are short and tangled up. You know, like when you brush your hair, you pull hair out, right? Well, the knife is kind of doing that too. And I just keep working back and forth. We're at the hackling process. I'm using the coarse to take out all the big tangles, and I mentioned how it helps to remove some of the woodiness and helps to split some of the fibers that are still stuck together. Now, I'll do this for a wee bit, and you feel it now. Still coarse, and that's okay. It really doesn't become truly soft until I weave it and wash it and start wearing it. Now I can see a tangle in there. There we go. So we'll leave that there. But then I come to my medium hackles. Now this is called toe. And if you've ever heard of a toe head, a little kid with blonde short hair all messy, that's a toe head. This one. There you go. This is my son. Head. And this, I will spin this for use around the farm. For example, we need grain bags, but this isn't what I really want to wear against my body. It's going to be rather uncomfortable. The British like to use the medium toe to clean their barrels. It will take a little more processing and washing and mangling to really get it soft and break the woody fibers down. So there's that. I'm going to set that right there. This is my fine hackles. It doesn't look the same as my coarse. And this is really good toe. I will spin this for clothes. It's not the line toe, but it's going to make clothing just fine. So let's see, after I go through here, how it feels to your guys' touch. Now filled this. And it could use a little more work, but it's okay. I can spin it. It's all about sound. It's about feel, the texture of the fibers, and getting that just right. Now I'm going to spin it. The wheel works with my right foot pushing down on the treadle. It moves the forearm, which moves this metal post, which turns the wheel. And the wheel pulls the belt, and that turns the whirl. And while the whirl's going around, it's making twisting right inside here. Right inside that hole there is where that happens. And that twist comes up my fingers and stops right where I'm pinching. So I get my water, let it on. My foot needs to pick up the pace because flax likes a lot of twist. And that's just not enough flax. So let's come closer. All right. There we go. Now we're going. When it comes to pulling flax, I'm just happy to get something. Although sometimes I can tell that it's just too thin. And like that's a little thin there, but it's pretty strong. So I'm going to let it be. But it would be nicer if I can gain the skill of being more consistent. And that just takes spinning, guys. Lots of practice. Get a little thicker there. The water is helping to have the flyaway, the ends of little ends through there, because they're not all the same length. It just lays them down. Plus flax is stronger when it's wet. Now this is a linen thread. I'm flax right here, but as soon as it twists into a thread, we call it linen. And I'll just keep working and spinning my life away so that I can make enough thread to start weaving some fabric. Now look right here. Sometimes I still have a bit of the wood in it, the shive. Right there's a little piece. I could take it out. It's not that hard to take out, but sometimes I just don't worry that much because once I weave it, it will probably fall out. And when I wash it and then mangle it, which is a process of kind of like ironing, I'll rub my fabric that I've woven, and that will help to break down all those woody little pieces. And I'll have a really nice flax linen fabric eventually. And I just wanted to show some of my flax that I grew last year, 23-24. This is 462 yards of now linen thread. Not the finest or beautiful thread. And this is actually the toe from the Hackling. The other thing that's really important, of course, in colonial times is color. And we would use plants. And right here, I am extracting the indigo from the indigo leaves. Although there are some branches, and branches don't give the color, it's just the leaves. You harvest the leaves in the morning, put them into a container, and by the third day, this water will be aqua looking. Then you pour it out and you add some lime, and the colonial folks knew they needed lime. The lime really is a binder. It holds all the particles of indigo, and it drops the indigo to the bottom of the jar after you've done some aeration. Here is a batch of indigo, and then I just need to turn it into a powder, and I'll make a vat, an indigo vat, probably using fructose like bananas. And I will then be ready to dye my fibers blues. And the indigo will look, sometimes it looks kind of greenish, but when you pull your product out, it turns blue when the oxygen hits it.
This humble thread is just the beginning. Should we follow it to the loom and see how linen cloth is made? Tell us in the comments if you'd like to continue this journey.